everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another video. I'm Sally and this is Secret Life of a Seamstress. I hope you're all really well. Today's video is going to be a slightly different one. I'm going to be filming a sew along. I haven't done a sew along for so long and I was feeling a little bit nervous about getting back into the whole process of filming sew alongs and things like that. And since I have a lovely project to make this week, I thought I'd just film the process and see how that goes. So this week I'm going to be making the Friday Pattern Company Davenport dress, and since this is quite a new pattern, I thought it might be quite helpful to other people who might be thinking about making this dress to have a kind of sew along video. I know if there's a new pattern out, I quite like to watch sew alongs of that pattern. I find it really helpful to see how people have found the pattern and how they've got on with it. So this is going to be in no way a tutorial because this pattern is brand new to me and there are some new techniques in there that I've not tried before, so it's definitely going to be a first for me and it's going to be a little bit of a kind of learning curve. But yeah, hopefully it will be fun. So if you haven't seen the Friday Pattern Company Davenport dress, this is what it looks like. It is such a lovely summery dress and I can't wait to try it out, to be honest. I've seen so many lovely versions online and on Instagram. I've been stalking the hashtag for quite some time and I've been really looking forward to having some time to get around to making it. So as you can kind of see from the pattern, it's a drawstring dress with a pretty frill at the bottom of the skirt and sleeves that are kind of gathered in to bracelet length maybe. I think that's kind of bracelet length anyway, and there's a really pretty kind of floaty cap sleeve at the top there as well. I'll just show you a little close up of the line drawings as well, just so that you can see in a bit more detail what the dress actually looks like. So I think this dress is very neat. It's definitely the kind of dress that I'd go for if I saw that style in a shop. Yeah, and I just love all the kind of frilliness of it really. I think it looks really kind of boho and really summery. So I'm really looking forward to making that dress up, and this is the fabric that I'm going to be using. It's a really lovely art gallery rayon fabric, and this is part of their Velvet collection designed by Amy Baldy, and it's absolutely beautiful. I thought this was quite thin when I first got it. I thought it was going to be quite thin and quite difficult to work with, but I've pre-washed it and given it a good press and it actually feels quite stable, so I hope it's going to be okay for this pattern. The pattern does recommend a cotton lawn or like a light cotton fabric, but it does say if you want a more fancy version to use a drapier fabric like a rayon or a silk, so I hope I'm going to be okay with this. It's just so pretty, isn't it? I really love this fabric. It's one of those fabrics that I love so much I'm a little bit scared to cut into, but hopefully it'll be okay. So as you can see, I haven't actually cut out my fabric yet, but yesterday I did spend some time putting together the PDF pattern. So I downloaded the PDF pattern directly from Friday Pattern Company's website. It cost me around £10, 8p or something, I think. There were quite a few pages to print out. I chose to print mine out at home because I was a bit short on time, but I think if you're not a fan of putting together PDF patterns, you might want to get this one printed out because there were 38 pages to it, as I say, and there are quite a few different parts to this dress, so it was a bit of a mammoth task putting it together, but I got there in the end. So something I do like about Friday Pattern Company patterns is that you have the option of opening it in Adobe Acrobat Reader and you can actually just print out your own size. So I went for a size XS because this pattern does come up oversized, it says that in the instructions. So I went on a size XS based on my bust measurement alone, which is a 32 inch. And hopefully that'll be okay. I think it might come up a little bit long because the pattern is drafted for a 5'6" model or 5'6" frame and I'm 5'3", but that's okay because I kind of prefer a midi length dress anyway, and on the model the dress is quite short, so I'm hoping the length will kind of work out okay. But I could always shorten the frill if I wanted to at the end. I'm just interested to know how you piece together your patterns because I always feel like I do mine in a little bit of a kind of long-winded way. So if while you're watching me put together this PDF pattern you feel as though I could be doing it better or quicker, please do let me know in the comments below, because I always feel like putting together PDF patterns takes me forever. Also, just to note, please don't worry, I'm not using my fabric scissors to cut out this paper pattern. These are my old fabric scissors. They were actually my grandma's and they came in her sewing basket that I inherited from her, but they are quite blunt for fabric cutting, so I've just kept them to cut out paper instead, and they're really good at cutting out paper, so don't worry. I'm not using my fabric scissors to cut the paper. So as I say, there are a lot of pieces to this dress and it's kind of making me a bit nervous actually as I'm looking at all the pieces as to how this dress is going to come together. The construction of it looks a little bit different, maybe a little bit fiddly. I know the burrito method is involved, so there's going to be lots to learn within this, but I'm really excited to see how it comes together. So after a lot of cutting and sticking, all of my pattern pieces came together and I've cut them all out and I'm ready to start cutting my fabric now. So here I am starting to cut out my millions of pieces for this dress, and at this point I'm wishing that my dining table was a whole cutting mat, because sometimes it's so frustrating. I have an A1 cutting board. I don't know if anyone knows if you can get a bigger one than that, but I feel like I'm constantly trying to maneuver the fabric around so that it still fits onto the cutting board. So do let me know if you know where I can get a bigger cutting board. I have thought about putting two together on the table and cutting underneath it, but I don't know if that will work because there'll obviously be a little gap in the middle. I've had a few questions about my lovely pattern weights. They are by Bridie, and she has a lovely Etsy shop which I'll link down below if you want to pop over and see those in a bit more detail. I was worried at one point that I wasn't going to get all of the pieces out of the 2.5 meters that the pattern says that I needed, and for a couple of the casings I did have to swap them the other way, as my fabric actually has a directional print. I did manage to squeeze it out of that, so it was okay in the end, but I did have to do a little bit of pattern Tetris to get it all to fit in. So all of my pieces are finally cut out now, so I can get on with sewing, but first of all I need to rethread my overlocker in black thread, which is always a bit of a task, isn't it? So I'll just go off and do that now. I don't know if you can see how fluffy my overlocker is. I haven't opened the front of it for a while because I've just left it on white thread. But now that I need to change the thread, I've just opened the door and realised how fluffy it is in there, so I might just give that a little quick clean before I try to change the thread, because that could cause me some problems, I think, a bit later on. So just in case anyone's interested in how I set up my sewing area, I always sew on the dining table. I don't have a dedicated sewing room or anything like that, so I tend to just use the whole dining table, and then the kitchen is behind me, so I set up the ironing board and the iron and everything over there behind me. So the sewing machine I was put here on the left for some reason, and then the overlocker is here next to me, and then behind me I just use the rest of the dining table space to put my pattern pieces there. And I tend to try and keep my pins on top of the machine there in the magnetic dish, so that it's just easier to kind of remove pins and put them back into the dish, and the seam ripper is also in there too. I try and keep a pair of scissors next to every machine and on the ironing board, but for some reason they always end up in the same place. And I'm always still looking for scissors. I don't know if anyone else is like that. My scissors always end up all in the same place, and I'm still hunting around for them no matter how many pairs I have. So I think I'm all set up and ready to go now. So I won't record every single stage of making this dress. The Friday Pattern Company website has a brilliant sew along tutorial of how to make the dress, and I have watched halfway through of that, and I'm going to be using that tutorial as I make the dress. So I won't be talking through every single stage. I'll just kind of record a bit of the sewing and talk through the process and how I'm finding the making and things like that, and hopefully that will be helpful. So the first few stages of making the dress are to make the drawstring and the elastic casing around the neckline, because the neckline is elasticated. So you make a small casing for that, and then you thread the elastic through, and then you start on the yoke pieces, the shoulder yoke pieces. So I'll go through all of those pieces now, and I'll record a bit of the sewing, and then I'll talk through how I've found the pattern so far. Tip here from Friday Pattern Company from their sew along to use a piece of paper underneath your presser foot for anything that's really teeny that might get sucked into the feed dogs underneath the foot. So apparently if you use this little scrap of paper, that will stop that happening, and I've never done that before, so yeah, I'm gonna give this a try and see how that works. I really like the little details of this dress. So this is the neckline casing, and you just thread a little bit of elastic through the casing, and it just gives that really cute kind of elasticated neckline. I think that's really lovely. There's some really lovely details in this dress, and now that I'm all cut out and ready to go, I did think that there were a lot of pieces and I was a bit put off, but I'm looking forward to seeing how all of this comes together, and I'm loving this fabric. It's so pretty, isn't it? So yeah, next I have to tack this elastic in place, and then I'm onto the shoulder yokes, so I'll catch up with you in a bit. Just put my little yoke pieces in, and I wanted to show you how lovely this finish is. So the yoke's kind of lined, and you sew it all together as one piece, and you kind of sandwich the bodice part into the two yoke pieces, and then on the back it's just really nicely finished, so it's kind of lined inside. I think that's so pretty. I really want to try and take my time with this make, because often I feel quite rushed, especially when the children are at school and I feel like I've only got a certain amount of time to sew. But with this dress, I just really want to kind of slow down and take my time. I think the fabric is so lovely, and it's all kind of new things that I'll be learning while I'm sewing this dress, so I really want to try and not rush. I do have a tendency to feel a bit rushed and try and get things done really quickly, so I'm going to try and slow down and just enjoy this make and the new things that I'm learning. Sorry you can't see my whole face, by the way. I'm just trying to get the camera in the right place to show you these little details and talk at the same time. Here's my front bodice all done at the yoke, so that's the back yoke, and I'm just going to run the gather-in stitches across the back piece now, so that I can attach the back bodice piece to the back yoke. So I'm just up to the part where you finish the back yoke piece with the burrito method, and I was going to try and film it, but I had one eye on the Friday Pattern Company YouTube tutorial at the same time, so I didn't manage to film it, but that's how it's turned out. And it was actually much easier to do than I thought it was going to be. When you're actually doing it, it's much more easy to work out what's supposed to go where than when you're just watching it on the YouTube video, or that's what I found anyway. So that gives a really nice finish, and you can see from the inside there that everything's just finished really nicely. I haven't had to overlock anything other than the elastic casing around the edge there. So yeah, I'm really liking how this is coming together at the moment. I think next I need to do the flutter sleeve bit and the long sleeves, but I'm just going to stop and have some lunch now because I'm feeling a bit hungry, but I'm really pleased with how this is coming together so far. So somehow here I've managed to record the whole of this section without having the microphone turned on my camera, so I'm really sorry about that, but basically I'm just saying that the day before I'd managed to get the whole of the bodice finished before I'd had to go and pick up the children from school, and I'm just showing you the finished sleeves with the really pretty elasticated cuff. I really like how that's finished with the elastic casing, and then I'm just kind of showing some of the details of the bodice. I'm also just showing the pretty flutter cap sleeves and then the elasticated neckline, and then I finish off by saying I really wish that this weather would become more summer-like so that I could actually wear some of my dresses rather than wearing all the sweatshirts that I seem to be wearing at the moment. But I'm sitting here in the rain still, so that's not happening. So here I'm just sewing together my ruffle piece, and the ruffle at the bottom is pieced together in 4 different sections. So you sew the 4 different sections together and then you gather the tops individually and then attach them to the skirt. So it's quite a good way of getting the skirt gathered into the top neatly, or to the bottom of the skirt I should say. Just now I'm just checking that my print is going in the right direction, because this fabric has a very subtle directional print, so I just wanted to make sure that all of my rectangles were facing up the same way. So here I am in my finished dress and I absolutely love it. Yeah, this is a very me dress, I think. I love all the frills and all the frill at the bottom of the dress, and I love the sleeves as well. I really like how the sleeves are elasticated at the bottom. I think they're really pretty, and I love these little flutter cap sleeves as well. So yeah, overall absolutely love this pattern. It was really easy to follow. I think if you're a bit nervous about making this pattern, definitely go and watch the sew along on the Friday Pattern Company YouTube channel, because that was really helpful, particularly for things that I hadn't tried before, like the burrito method and putting in the yokes, the shoulder yokes and things like that. It was really helpful to watch that first. Can you believe though, the only problem I encountered in the whole of this dress was threading through my drawstring here. So I got to about 3 centimeters maybe from pulling it through out the other side, and the safety pin just got stuck on something and I could not work out what it was stuck on, and I was wiggling it around trying to get it through and everything, but it just got stuck somewhere inside like the drawstring casing and where the pocket was, and I couldn't get it through, so I had to go in. I had to basically cut a little hole inside of the channel and pull the safety pin through, which was really annoying, because apart from that I felt like I'd done a really neat job of this dress. So that was annoying, and I really don't know even now what it got stuck on. It's just one of those things. So later on I'm just going to go in and hand stitch, where I just had to cut a little hole to get the safety pin through. Apart from that, I think this dress came together really nicely. I'd say it took about 6 hours in total to do. I did about 3 hours yesterday and about another 3 today. My safety pin drama probably took about half an hour of that 3 hours today. I am quite slow, I think, making things in general. I think there are definitely people that are quicker than me, so if you are a speedy sewer it probably won't take you that long. But yeah, I highly recommend this pattern. There are some really nice techniques in there. I really like how the burrito method kind of finishes all the yoke inside really nicely, and then the shoulder yokes look really lovely too inside. The dress is drafted for a 5'6" height, and I'm only just over 5'3", and it comes to just below my knee, which is actually perfect for me. I was wondering whether it would come up a little bit too short, because I don't like anything too short, but actually it's actually perfect. And I just turned up the hem stated in the pattern, which was 1 centimetre, and then 1 centimetre again, so 2 centimetres, and yeah, that just comes below my knee. As for this fabric, I absolutely love it. I know art gallery fabrics are slightly more on the expensive side, but I would say they're definitely worth it. I got mine in the sale, as I say, from Minerva when they were having a 25% discount on art galleries sale, so that was a really good deal. But yeah, I do absolutely love art gallery rayon. I just think it's so lovely and soft and drapey, but it's actually quite easy to work with as well, and it doesn't fray too much. And I forgot to say earlier that this dress is actually going to be part of Amy Sinibaldi, who designed the fabric, Velvet Showcase, which is going to be happening over on Instagram next week. So in the description of this video, I'm going to put a hashtag so that if you are interested and you are on Instagram, if you want to pop over next week and just have a look at that hashtag, you'll be able to see all of the other lovely things that other makers have been making in this fabric, which is the Art Gallery Velvet collection. So there's 2 art gallery velvet rayons, and this is one of them, and then there are quite a lot of quilting cotton, so there are a lot of quilters that make beautiful things with these prints as well. So if you're interested to see, then I will just link that hashtag below so that you can pop over and follow and see what other people have been making. I need to take some nice photos of this dress now, because mine's going to be part of that collection, which is really exciting, and it's lovely to be involved with that. So I think that's all I really have to say about this pattern. I just do absolutely love it. I really want to make another one for summer with no sleeves, either no sleeves at all. I might bias by in the armhole, or I might make this sleeve really short and still elasticated so that you've got a little tiny kind of puff sleeve. I'm not sure, but this definitely won't be the last time I'm making this pattern because I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please do give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments section and let me know what you're up to as well. And I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.